Okay, here is the amortization formula. So make sure you write it down. And like I said, this is pretty much the formula for 4D. Now, of course, we're going to change some things. I'm going to use my handy dandy whiteboard. Let's see if I can use that whiteboard. Where is my whiteboard? There it is. And I'm going to take out the APR, and that's R. I'm going to take out the Y. Well, I was going to take out the Y, but that don't look good. Can I hit undo here? I don't think I can. Yeah. Change that to a T. And change that to an R. And change that to an R. Oops. Sorry. Change that to an R. And change that to a T. Okay, so make those changes. And the only reason I want you to make those changes again is because in the real world, they do not write it like this. In the real world, it's P times R over N over 1 minus parentheses 1 plus R over N raised to the negative NT power. Now, believe it or not, this is not a difficult process. It is just like the process in the past two sections. You've got to learn how to use your calculator. But it is depressing because you're going to see some things that, of course, you're not supposed to learn, because if you learn them, that makes you more knowledgeable. And there are some aspects of government that don't want you to know a lot. So, all right. So I'm going to write mine out. And P, payment, your monthly payment is equal to P times R over N over 1 minus. Now, I sometimes do this because I don't like the negative NT power. So what I do is I put 1 over 1 plus R over N raised to the positive NT power. Okay, now that's just something I do. And I'm going to show you that right now. If I can get my... And hold on, I'm getting there. There we go. That's the way I write it. And that's up to you if you want to write it that way. I just don't like the NT being negative. I just put a 1 over it and it made it positive. You don't have to do that. So I could rewrite this, or P times R over N over 1 minus 1 plus R over N raised to the negative NT power. Okay, so they're both the same. Doesn't matter how you do it. So let's do an example. Let's say probably the worser of the three evils is credit cards. There's nothing wrong with credit cards if you're Bill Gates, you know. Why is that? Why did I say that? Because you got the money to pay them off. And how do you know you got enough money to pay it off? Well, at the end of the month, if you got money to burn, then you can afford a credit card. Pretty much that. That's simple. Remember, champagne tastes on a beer budget. You don't want to be one of those people. You don't want to be that person that I knew that was over $1 million in debt with credit cards and second and third mortgages on their house, trying to keep up with the Joneses. All right. Credit cards are pretty much a sham. There's nothing wrong with having 1 or 2 credit cards from your bank. And, you know, if you've got the money to have credit cards at the shopping places, that's nothing, you know, at the stores. But if you ain't got the money, don't get the credit cards. And the reason credit cards are kind of a sham is because of high what? Interest and what? Fees. High interest. What do you mean? Well, they say they advertise 0% interest. Yeah, but what happens when you charge something on that credit card? It shoots up to about 22% interest. 0 until you charge something. And then when you charge something, it shoots up to about 22% interest. Well, that's fine. I'll pay it off in a couple of months. Well, if you forget to pay it, you have a late fee. Does anybody know what that late fee can be around? Somebody give me an example of a late fee. Somebody.
Can it be a percentage of the balance?
Well, some do 25 to 30 bucks. And then guess what other kind of fee there is? Anybody else have another fee? Give me another fee on a credit card. Anybody?
Some of them have a yearly fee.
Say again?
Some have an annual fee.
Yep, an annual fee. That could even be larger than some of those fees are 50 to 100 bucks. And then there's the over the what?
Over the limit.
Over the limit fee, and that's another 25 to 30 bucks. Okay. Now, that's why I always tell students, if you're going to get a credit card, go through your what? Go through your bank. Okay? Those things that you get in the mail, throw them in the trash can. If you're going to get an emergency credit card, and I'm talking about the one that pays for a flat tire, or the one that pays for a hotel when you're snowed in, or the one that pays for your car when it breaks down, or the one that pays for your towing bill when you break down. If you're going to get one of those, go through your bank, because your bank is going to look out for you as much as possible. Okay? And they're going to tell you the best one to put in for. All right? Now, let's do an example. Let's say that you have a credit card and that you have charged $2,500 over the last several months. And of course, that credit card, as soon as you charge, jumped up to 21%. How much do you owe, especially if you're talking about monthly payments? Oh, I can't even spell. MTH, there we go. Monthly payments. Monthly payments equal, N is equal to 12. All right, now I want you to crank that out. So P is equal to 2,500. R is equal to 0.21. N is equal to 12. Now, the reason I want you to do it right now, and I'm not showing you anything, is I want you to see how you're going to do it on your calculator. So go ahead and do it. And of course, if you bog down, don't worry about it because we're going to go over it the correct way. So go ahead, and I want you to take your calculator out, and I want you to do that problem with P is equal to 25, R is equal to 0.21, and N is equal to N is equal to 12. Go ahead. Give you a minute.
What would T be?
Oh, I'm sorry. T would be 1 year.
Okay.
Because you want to pay it off as soon as possible.
Okay.
Thank you. You're always on the ball, Miss Stewart. I just appreciate you. My cat has been playing with my document cam again. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the formula for you. My payment equals, let's see, that's going to be 2,500 over 0.21 divided by 12 over 1 minus 1 over 1 plus 0.21 over 12 raised to the NT, so that's going to be 12 times 1. Okay, so here's what you're doing. Now, the reason I use that formula where I don't have a negative exponent. So I'm using this one right here. So let's do it. Now, I'm going to use the key where you go get bread at the stove. I'm going to use that. So I'm going to do 0.21 divided by 12. And I'm going to add that, multiply that by 2,500. And y'all check y'all's numbers and see if you got the same thing I got. Capiche? So I'm on stow, alpha, numerator. So that's my numerator. My numerator, did everybody get 43.75 for the numerator? I hope so. Now I got to do the denominator. So I'm going to hit clear, and I'm going to hit clear down here. And now we're going to do the denominator. Let me put it in front of me so I can type it in correctly. So I'm going to do 0.21 divided by 12. Add it to 1 and raise it to the 12th power. Now that is the denominator, and I'm going to divide 1 by that. So I'm going to hit 1 divided by inverse or second answer. And that'll give me that number. And now I'm going to subtract that from 1. I got 0.1879. So I'm going to stow alpha D. And now I'm going to take clear and clear. And now I'm going to take alpha N divided by alpha D. So my monthly payment is $232. I'm going to just round it off to 233, if you don't mind. My payment is 232.78, which is equal to 233 bucks. Not a problem, right? So I pay 233 bucks 12 times, right? So 233 bucks times 12 is 2,800 bucks. So to borrow 2,500 bucks, I just have to pay $300. So 233 bucks. 233 bucks per month for 1 year equals, what I say, 1,800, where's the calculator? 2,800 bucks. So I have paid the credit card company $300 to borrow $2,500. And I bet you $1 to a donut hole there's somebody in this room that had no idea you were paying $300 for a year for that $2,500 on the credit card. Now, you know what's even more depressing? Car payment, mortgage, student loan. The student loan's not bad because student loan is the government, and the government don't charge you 22%. I remember when I don't know if anybody has a student loan, but when I deferred my student loans afterwards, I didn't have that many because I got free education because I went in the freaking military, so I got free college. Anyway, I'm not going there. I did have some student loans because I wasn't perfect, and I went a little bit longer than I was supposed to because I wasn't perfect, and I took a lot of classes over. I'm not going to go there, bad teachers. Anyway, the whole point is I deferred my student loans, and that was deferred at 8%. So I don't know what the going rate. Somebody might want to volunteer that information. And that was 95 to 2,000 because it took me like 4 years to pay it off. It wasn't much. I would say it was probably $10,000, $12,000. Okay. Of course, nowadays a full would be 50 to 100,000. Okay, but like I said, if I had been a good white sheep instead of a black sheep, and if I had done what I was supposed to, the Marine Corps would have paid everything, and I wouldn't have had to pay $10,000, $12,000. All right. So to make a long story short, this is not the best news when your numbers go up as far as a car or a house. So let's look at a car or a house. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you think the credit card companies are your friend, then you're going to think a car salesman is your friend. And a car salesman is not your friend. Let's go ahead and look at a car. Let's do two different options. Let's say you go to a car lot and you find a car, and we're going to get a moderately priced car, and we'll say $30,000. Okay, and has anybody bought a new car lately? What is the interest rate? Anybody know? Anybody want to volunteer that information? I have no idea.
I got mine at 1.9.
That means you got pretty good credit. I'm not going to go with 1.9 because that's good credit. I'm going to go with about 4%, okay? 4% equals R. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy saying a certain number. That's why I asked y'all. And 4% over here. And over here, I'm going to say I just want to finance this car for 3 years. Oops, I'm sorry, T. And over here, since my car salesman loves me, and since my car salesman wants to be my friend, you know, like they say, we want to help you out. We're going to do for 6 years over here. And of course, N is equal to 12 because you want to do monthly payments. All right, I want you to crank those out. Go ahead and plug and chug. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. While y'all are working, I'm going to write it down in the formula. $12 times 3 is what, 36?
I think so.
And what is 12 times 6? Dang old 72. So there's only one thing that's different, and that is the time. So go ahead and work those out. I like that couch, Miss Stewart. Brown is my favorite color in the house. I got brown. I got a brown love seat, brown sofa, brown easy chair. What do you call it? The big chair with the ottoman. Can't remember. It's like 1.5 chairs. And then I got brown towels. Besides yellow, I think brown is my favorite color.
Yellow is my top favorite.
Yeah, yellow is my favorite. I think it was because I had a baby blanket that was yellow. My mother gave it to me like when I was older. And I think that's why I like yellow, because it was a yellow baby blanket, had a real, I called it slickety, it looked like a silk edge around it, yellow silk edge. And I think that's why I like yellow to this day. And I don't mean puke yellow, I mean like canary yellow. Pretty yellow.
Yes.
Not puke. Okay, let's do it. Let's take our handy dandy calculator, and I'm going to clear everything. And we're going to go ahead and get our numerator for the left side, which is 3 years. And that's going to be 0.04. Well, the numerator is going to be the same for both. 0.04 divided by 12 multiplied by 30,000. And before I store it, I want everybody to make sure y'all got the same thing. 100. Everybody got that? So I'm going to stow that. Stow, alpha, numerator. Now I'm going to clear all that. Leave it up there for a few seconds, and I'm going to clear all that. And now I'm going to do the denominator. So 0.04, 0.04 divided by 12. I'm going to add that to 1. And I'm going to raise that to the 36th power. And that is the denominator, so I got to divide 1. So here we go. 1 divided by second answer, which is the negative symbol beside the inner sign. So that's 1 divided by 1.12, blah, blah, blah. And 1 minus second answer is 1 minus 0.887, blah, blah, blah. And that is my denominator. 0.1129. Check yours and see if that's what you got. Stow, alpha, D. So your monthly payment for this car for 3 years is going to be alpha N divided by alpha D. And that is a payment of $885.72. $885.72. And how many monthly payments is that? 36, right? So multiply that by 36. And for a $30,000 car, you paid $32,000 for it, basically. For a $30,000 car, you paid, at the end of 3 years, you paid $32,000. I'm going to say 32 because I don't want to write all that stuff down. So I'm going to say $32,000. Not bad, considering you paid on it for 3 years. You know, $2,000 isn't that bad. But let's go ahead and do the other side. Now, we don't have to do the numerator because the numerator is the same. The only difference is the time. So here we go. Clear. So we're going to redo the denominator. Here we go. 0.04 divided by 12 plus 1. And now we're going to raise that to the 72nd power. And we're going to divide 1 by that. So 1 divided by second answer. And then divided by, or 1 minus second answer. And that's 0.21. So I'm going to stow that in alpha D. Oops, I messed up. Alpha D. Enter. Now I'm going to take alpha numerator divided by alpha denominator. And now I get a monthly payment of $469. All right, we got a low payment. $469.36. I ain't paying no $800 a month. I can pay half that. Multiply that by 72. Nothing's free. A month for 6 years equals $34,000 for that same car. Okay, now somebody tell me what you just did. Somebody tell me. What did you just do by going from 3 years to 6 years? You doubled the time. You also doubled the what? Doubled the interest. Thus, the number one rule of life. Nothing is what? Nothing is free. They're going to get you whether, they're going to get you no matter what you do. All right. This is the best deal because you're paying $800 a month. You're only paying for 3 years. This is not the best deal because you're paying double the interest. There's another $2,000 added onto this one. Now, you're going to see this in the mortgage. The next one we do is the mortgage. You're really going to see it with the mortgage because you don't do it for 6 years. A mortgage is for either 15 or 20 years. And I guarantee you there's somebody in here that never realized this right here. Here, you're paying $2,000 interest. Here, you're paying $4,000 interest. Nothing is free. Now let's do a house. Let's go with $200,000 house. Used to be a $200,000 house was a mansion. Have y'all seen lumber prices lately? They're usually the first thing that goes up when fuel prices go up and then groceries go up. And fuel prices, if y'all haven't noticed, have gone up, and they say by the end of the summer they'll be up to $3 a gallon. But Hubert's going to keep his mouth shut because he's a terrorist. Okay? So y'all don't listen to me. And my house is locked in at 4%. I had pretty good credit when I refinanced my house. So we're going to say 6%. So R is equal to 6%. R is equal to 6%. T is equal to 15. T is equal to 30. And of course, N is equal to 12. And N is equal to 12. So the only difference is time. So go ahead and crank those through. And by now you're realizing that this is not difficult. It's nothing but what? Calculator drills. How to use your calculator in the most efficient way. So go ahead and do those two and let's see what you get. Ms. Holder, I do see your homework question. You're the only one that sent one, so that means that you're the only one that has problems. Out of the whole class, you're the only one that has problems with homework. I don't believe that, but I do see it, and I'm going to go over it, but it'll probably be Friday, if that's okay with you.
That works perfectly.
Okay.
My computer's about to die, so if I disappear, that's why.
Ma'am, what'd you say, Miss Gill?
I said my computer's about to die, so if I disappear in the next few minutes, you'll know why.
Oh my gosh, the blip. This actually happened. Miss Gill's going to disappear right in front of us.
I'm at work, so I forgot to bring my charger, so.
Yeah. You're not going to disappear. You're at work. You're going to stay. You're going to be there all day. All right. So I'm going to write this while y'all are finishing up. Payment is equal to 200,000 times R over N. That's 0.06 over 12. And that's going to be the same for both. Like the car payment, 200,000. 0.06 divided by 12. 1 minus 1 over 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12. Multiplied or raised to the what? Well, 12 times 15. Let's see, what's 10 times? That's 150. And then 30 added on to 150 would be 180. Somebody multiply 12 times 15 for me. Is that 180? I think it is. Somebody check me.
Yep.
And then, of course, 12 times 30 is 360, I think. So that's going to be 1 minus 1 over 1 plus 0.06 over 12 raised to the 360 power. All right, so I put those plug and chugs there, and you see the only difference between the two is what? Them dang old monthly payments. It's the only difference. So here we go. Take our handy dandy calculator. Clear. Clear. And I don't my OCD, I don't like to start. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the numerator for both. 200,000 times, parentheses, 0.06 divided by 12. Y'all check me. 1,000. So that's going to stow alpha n for numerator. Everybody got that? So clear. And I hit the wrong one. There. Now I'm going to do the numerator or the denominator on the left side. So that's going to be 0.06 divided by 12. Add 1. Raised to the what? 180 power. And I'm going to divide that by 1. So 1 divided by second answer. Sorry, I'm brain bubble. And then 1 minus second answer. You need to quit that, Miss Oglesby. You're going to give yourself a headache. All right. All right. So that is my what? That is my denominator. So stow alpha denominator And now my monthly payment is alpha N divided by alpha D. And my eyes are running together, sorry. 1687.71. 1687.71 per month. And we're going to multiply that by 180 times 180. So how much did we pay for borrowing $200,000? We paid $303,788.46. So somebody tell me, how much interest did we pay? About $100,000. Now this is the best deal. Now let's do 30 years. So I'm just going to change the denominator. So I'm going to clear this and then clear. There we go. I'm going to do 0.06 divided by 12 plus 1. After a while, you can pretty much memorize this. And I'm going to raise that to the 360th power. And I'm going to divide by 1. And I'm going to subtract 1. So that is my new denominator. So stow alpha denominator. And now my 30-year monthly payment is alpha N divided by alpha D. And my new monthly payment for 30 years is, all right, $1,200. $1,200 per month for how many months? For 360 months. So let's multiply that by 360. So for a $200,000 house, at the end of 30 years, we're paying $431,676. So what have we learned in the last 30, 45 minutes? What have we learned about loans? And don't say they're a ripoff. They're not a ripoff. That's not what I'm trying to show you. What am I trying to show you? What is the factor?
Pay more monthly. It's a better deal.
Say, I didn't hear you. You broke up. What did you say, Miss Stewart?
That if you can afford to pay more monthly, it's a better deal in the long run.
Okay, because you're reducing the time pretty much. Time is the factor. And interest, of course, if you got good credit. I'm going with moderate credit because, like I said, when I refinanced my house 3 or 4 years ago, I refinanced it and I locked in at 4%. And at that time, that was the lowest you could get. Now I think it's even lower. But anyway, so I'm going with 6 because that's moderate at that time. You see that these two factors right here, and I'm going to take my handy dandy green marker and I'm going to put this in a cloud because that right there is the two things that you need to look at. And Miss Stewart nailed it. Where'd you go, Miss Holder, Miss Oglesby? They just like disappear on me. All right. The whole point is you have to watch the interest rate, and you can't be suckered in by oh, I love you, I want to be your friend, I want to help you out. They're not helping you out by extending it, because you're paying double, just about double, if not more, for the price after 30 years. Versus 100,000, you're paying 200,000, over 200,000. And I guarantee you somebody in here didn't know this. But, you don't need to know that kind of stuff. It's easier. Wait till we get to income tax. Any comments, gripes, complaints? Okay, we went over. I'm sorry. That's why people had to leave. So I'm going to shut her off. Y'all have a good day. We'll go over questions Friday, and I'll see y'all Friday, okay?
Have a good one.
All right, bye-bye.